guys, it's Katie from Pixel Print Apparel. In today's episode, Sourcing and Selecting the Right Images, we're diving into sourcing high quality images from some of my favorite platforms, as well as some fonts. So let's go ahead and find the perfect graphics for your next project. So the first step is going to be choosing the right platform. I have 3 that I really love, and so I'm going to go ahead and go in order from what I prefer to what I use the least. So the first site is going to be Creative Fabrica, which is right here. It is my favorite. I love this site. You can get a full membership. They say this is Black Friday, but it's almost year round for under $50. You can get as many fonts, images, graphics, full designs as you need, and they have a really good selection. Not only does it have stuff for t-shirts, but if you're in tumblers, if you're in embroidery, they have all those files as well. You can buy each image, but I really recommend using the membership if you're going to get more than one, because honestly it pays for itself if you're going to get multiple images or graphics. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to do a quick search. I've already done a couple. So what I did was I put in for a fall pumpkin, and this image and this type of design has been selling. I've seen it so much come through my print shop. It is this 3x3 9-panel kind of image, and it seems to look super cute on shirts, and a lot of people are making designs with this. So this is an example of a fully created image. We're ready to go kind of thing. We can download, put this on a mock-up, and we're good to go. We can send this straight to the printer as long as it's good. And we're going to take a second later to just double check those requirements. But I really like this, so I have this on my little tab up here. The next thing we're going to do on Creative Fabric, not only does it have those graphics, full graphics, but I can actually find some different fonts as well. So I'm going to just look up Christmas fonts, because we just came out of Thanksgiving and we're going into Christmas. So I'm just going to put the word font there so it knows that I'm looking for fonts. And you can see like all these really cute fonts. So we got this Christmas, Wonderful Christmas, lots of really cute things. Okay, here's Grinch 2.0. I really like that one. Let me go ahead. I think I'm going to download this one. So it's the perfect Christmas font, of course. And so I'm going to put this on my next little tab here. I'm going to keep that in mind. Because I think I want to make a Christmas design that's designed off of this kind of patterny 9 image design. So we're going to make one for Christmas though. So the other thing I did, since I'm doing this Grinch image, I did find this really cute Grinch bow that I want to include in my design. So I have this up here as well. All right, so that is Creative Fabric. Again, I love it. It has so many different things. The next one I want to talk about is designbundles.net. Now, it also has a membership. I am not a member of Design Bundles. I don't think they have quite the selection of Creative Fabrica, but it might be helpful if you need something and you find it here and you can't find it on Creative Fabrica. I find that a lot of the complete graphics, they're just not as cute as Creative Fabrica, but they do have a lot of just individual images. So if I want to like look up Grinch, I can maybe find some individual images. This in my Grinch era, this little Grinchy cat would be really cute. So you could find a lot of these just individual images that we could put in our design. Again, I don't have a subscription here, so I would have to buy each individual one. So I'm just going to skip this for right now, but this is another really great resource. The third one I want to talk about that a lot of people know about is Etsy. Now, you can find some really cute, really unique designs on Etsy, even more so than on the other two sites I listed, but this is number 3 for a reason. And there's a couple of reasons actually. First of all, each one of these designs, they're all individual. So you're going to pay for each individual listing. So if you like a listing here, you can't just buy, a $49 subscription and get everything you want. So there's that aspect. It can get very expensive, especially if you buy a design and it does not sell. The next thing I want to talk about is image stealing. It is so common on Etsy. You'll see a lot of these designs that say, hey, you can't sell my image, but really there's nothing stopping them from doing it other than just, copyright law. For instance, if you will notice, these two images are very, very similar. The only big difference, like these bows are exactly the same. Some of the pumpkins are the same. They're almost exactly the same, but they're two different people. And I'm going to show you how I found out one of my clients got ripped off, and I got her money back from this shop. And so you just got to be careful on Etsy with what you're getting, and making sure you're getting what you're paying for, and that it's not a ripped off file. So I'm going to look at this graphic here. The reason being is because this is a file. It looks really cute on this mock-up, right? It looks beautiful. But I found with one of my clients that this is a file that has been knocked off, and it will not look like this when you actually print it. So we're going to go through that a little bit more in this in the next episode. So anyway, here's that file that I'm going to pull from here, from Etsy. All right. So the next step, I found some images, I found some graphics that I like. Step 2 is going to be evaluating those graphics based on the descriptions put on the page. Sometimes things aren't what they say, but at the very least, we need to double check and make sure that we're buying things that will work for us. So when choosing an image or a graphic, there's a couple things to look for. The first is the file format. You want to make sure that you get an SVG or a PNG with a transparent background. And if you don't have those two things, one or the other, I would not get that file for direct to film. JPEGs will have backgrounds. Other file formats are just not as high quality. And so for me, when I'm looking for somebody to submit a file for my printer, it's gold standard really honestly is PNG or SVG. So the next thing you're going to want to look for is your DPI is at least 300 DPI at the size you need. You want to ensure that your files are big enough to print in the sizing that you need. So that's another thing to look at. And the last thing you really want to focus on is licensing, and make sure that you will have the licensing for it. So let's look at some of these that we picked out and check all of these things. So here's my first, that retro fall pumpkin that I really liked. And so first I'm going to look at, is it an SVG or a PNG? So right here, it does say you will get a PNG file, no SVG. Now the biggest difference between a PNG and an SVG is going to be, can you scale it? And what I mean by that is a PNG is what's called a raster file. You can only resize these down and maintain the resolution, because these are saved with pixels or dots. And so if you blow them up, that is when you're going to get that pixelation, that blurriness that does not look good. Okay, so you need to know, especially for PNGs, what size is this file? Now with an SVG, you don't have to worry about this. SVG literally stands for scalable vector file. It's a vector versus a raster file. And so when you have vector files, you can scale them up or down. It does not matter because you're working on a formula, mathematical rendition of this image, and it's not in pixels. So with SVG files, don't worry about the sizing. You only have to worry about the DPI. But if it's a PNG, you do have to worry about both the DPI and the sizing. So we have a PNG. So that means we're going to be looking for DPI and sizing. So here we go. Here's 300 DPI resolution. So we're good. And we come up here, we're looking at file sizing. And so I don't see anything down here, but if you look actually in the images itself, when you're going through the images, it does say with size 4,000 by 4,000 pixels. Now, there are 96 pixels in an inch. So a quick down dirty way to figure out how big this is just to take off 2 decimal places. And because 96 is so close to 100, we can just divide by 100 and get a rough estimate of how many inches this would be. Again, since this is a PNG file, this is important to find out. Now, when I'm looking at files, I want my width to at least be 15 inches for a PNG. That way I can resize it down, it looks better. And for most times, I am not gonna need anything bigger than a 15-inch print. So 15 inches is a great milestone, set point to really make sure that this is gonna look good in a print. If you know you're not gonna be printing a lot bigger, you can use like an 11 or 12, and that will work if it's 300. But if you wanna resize anything bigger than that, you're gonna be changing that 300 resolution because you're stretching it. Those pixels are getting bigger and your DPI will actually get lower and your resolution will not look good. So you can have a 300 DPI image that you download that's 300 DPI, but if you resize it, it might only be 100 DPI for the sizing, which again, we'll show in a different episode. So for this one, it says 4,000 by 4,000. That means this is sized 40 inches by 40 inches. This is plenty big with that 300 DPI. This is gonna look beautiful as long as what they're saying is correct. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and download this one. Now I'm gonna look at my font. Now with fonts, you just need to download it. Usually your fonts are good. You can see down here what everything will look like before you download it. And then all you do is you click this download file and it will download for you. So now I have that Grinch font that I was looking at. Let me look at this green Grinch bow. Again, I'm gonna look down here. It does say it's a PNG file, so that's good. And this one has 300 DPI, but it is PNG. Like I said, if this was SVG, I wouldn't worry about the sizing, but because it is a PNG, I do need to check that. This, they say it is 3,600 by 3,600. I take off 2 zeros. This is actually going to be a 36-inch by 36-inch print. Again, way bigger than what we need. So this is going to look great. Okay, we're not going to worry about that resolution as long as what they're saying in the description is correct. The other thing, I forgot to mention for all of these, double check to make sure that you are welcome to use these commercially on physical products. If you are using a POD or a print on demand and it does not specifically say that it is available for POD, I would not send that to a print on demand company. So just check that as well. If, on the other hand, you're sending your image to a printer, you're going to cut and you're going to make the file, your design yourself, you are perfectly fine to use those commercially. So we're good here. And then again, let's see. I'm looking for, I don't see any, oh, here it is, including commercial license right here. And so up here, if you notice, this one says commercial and full POD usage allowed. Whereas this one does also says full POD allowed. So you're good with both of these for POD. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and download that one. And then, like I said, I've already downloaded this Etsy file. It was actually bought from one of my clients, and I'm using it just as an example of what to look for in a bad image. Okay, so if we look at this, though, it does say that is a PNG, so it's good. It's 300 dpi, so check. But because, again, it's PNG, we need to look at the sizing. And the problem with this listing, I'm going to tell you right now, if you look through everything, it never tells you what size this was saved at. It doesn't tell you inches, it doesn't tell you pixels. And so that is a big red flag for me. It does say that you can sell creations as long as the end product is physical, and so that's fine. But again, that would be one of my little red flags going up, is that they do not say what sizing this is. The other big red flag for me is it says this image can be resized to fit on whatever you require. You're not just limited to skinny tumblers. If you know anything about skinny tumblers, these are a lot smaller design. They're usually 8x9. And so this is going to be on the smaller size if it was saved as a tumbler size at 300. Again, just, if you really like the image, if you really like it, you can buy it, you can download it. I definitely, if you're buying something from Etsy, double check your specs on the actual file once you download it. Okay, and then again, like I said, we're good as far as licensing. It said licensing was good. All right, so I've downloaded all my files. The last and third step is going to be organizing those files. And so what I would do, I have all my files here, okay? And so they're going to usually come in like a zip. So for instance, this Grinch is a zip. I'm on Mac. If you're on PC, you'll have to right click and extract. But on Macs, you just double click and it extracts automatically. And here I have my bow. And here, right here is my Grinched font. Fonts are super easy, guys. You literally extract it and then you can double click it. On Mac, it's literally just an install. I think it's the same thing on PC. You install, it will be available now on your computer as a graphic, so as a font. So I'm done with that. With my font, I got it. Like, that's easy. And then again, you're just going to extract everything out of the files. And then what I would do is I would make a file folder on your PC. It might be good to put it in your documents. So for instance, I'm going to go ahead, I'll make a new folder. You might want to name it your business name. You might want to name it t-shirt designs, or graphics, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to put t-shirt here. And then you're going to want to place these in folders that are easy to find. So for instance, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to name this one Fall, and I'll name this one Christmas. And that way, when I'm placing these images, I can put them in the correct folders. If you're going to be doing more than one Christmas design, you might even want to come into Christmas and make even more folders. So like maybe Grinch design. We could do, if we were doing, a Santa design, we could name that Santa. Make as many folders. Go ahead, organize this the way you want. I promise you, you will save so much time later if you save it like this, especially if you want to reuse designs, if you need to resend a print, if you need to re-grab a mock-up, which we'll talk about later. It will save you tons of time. Just set up your file organization and then you just drag and drop. So that's it for episode 1. Next time, we're going to make sure all those downloaded files that we have in our nicely separated and dedicated folders are actually print ready. We've double checked the listing, but now we're going to double check the file now that we've downloaded. And we're going to do that because these are PNGs by both the resolution, image sizing, and the DPI. Don't forget to subscribe so when the next episode comes up, you can check it out. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.